Well, my friends, welcome aboard. It's a beautiful day out here enjoying Mother Nature and all the wonders that we can find. We must always be grateful for all that we have. Ray, Ray was asking me about head position. There's two kinds of head position. One is where we draw the line to the head, and the other is where we bring the head to the line. If we're shooting a lighter bow up to around 50 pounds, 45 pounds, or even lighter, the push-on style is the best. With the push-on, we're simply going to start with our arrow slightly on the right, and as we push, we'll just push it on. Once we push it on, we bring it back, and at about 7/8 of the pressure, it will just roll into our jaw. At that point, we relax the arm. So it's point on, anchor on, relax the arm, and we did not move the head. Now, the second style is not the push on, it's the pull on. And in that way, what we do again is we'll start slight on the right, and as we draw, we pull. As I draw, I pull. This is not pushing the tip on. This is pulling it on. Anyhow, in doing this style, we'll start and we'll simply pull until the arrow appears straight and our arm is completely relaxed. Now we move the jaw into the position. Okay? So that's completely different. Completely different. Pull. Get it straight. Get it lined up and move your head so that it's touching your anchor, but it's all pulled out and relaxed first. Now line it up. Okay? Or with the push. It's push the tip on, draw until the pressure brings it into your jaw, then relax the right arm. In the pull, the right arm is already relaxed before we put the head down. So there's a lot of difference in these two techniques, but that's the way that I shoot. I'll push the tip on, get to my anchor, relax my arm without moving my head, Ray, or I will pull it on until it goes straight, let my arm completely relax so that the arrow is pointing where it wants to point, and now I bring my jaw over and line it up. Anyhow, I've said it a few times, but that's what we're going to do today. Now let's go take a couple shots and see if I can show you this by example. Okay, guys, be back in a minute. Well, my friends, something else that I want to share with you is my feathers were really worn out, so I decided to put some new fletchings on. And as you can see, I've used my usual 6.5 inch long banana, but on this arrow I've got 4 feathers. Okay, 4 feathers. I am not that impressed with it. It makes a clicking sound whenever it leaves the bow, or most of the time, so I find it a bit noisy for some reason, and it shoots in the group with the others, so what's so special? But anyhow, we're going to experiment a little bit today. I always tell you, experiment a bit, and we'll try this for feather fletching. Anyhow, back in a minute. Okay, my friends, we've got a half of a red plate down here, and it's easier to shoot a small target than a big target, believe it or not. I'm just going to leave that like that. Look at a small target is easy to focus on, and you can always put your arrow in reference to that small dot. But when you're shooting a larger target and you're shooting a group on a larger target, every time you look at it, it looks slightly different. You never put your tip in exactly the same spot. That's why your group will look bigger. But if you have something small to focus on, it's just easier to do. So that's what I was going to say about that. And also, let's get back to this, the Sacs. The Sacs gave the Saxons their name. The Vikings also used the Sacs, only they would have it, about 3 feet long, and it just has one edge, so it's a chopper. But very, very common knife back in the Middle Ages, and the Bowie knife is sort of copied from it. So anyhow, that's what our ancestors were using. And in the battle line, if you've got 150 guys and 150 guys in there all pushing and pushing, if you've got a sword about this long, it's really handy. Whereas if you've got this great big thing you've got to swing, well, you got guys standing all around, and lots of guys, shoulder to shoulder, pushing, huffing and puffing. Stick them in the eye. It's great fun being a Viking. Anyhow. We'll just leave that like that. But, when you've got something to focus on, then it's easier. Okay. I'll be back in a minute. Well, Steve, what do you think of the bow now? I'll just leave that like that. That time, if you could see, I did the other style. I pulled it on and I moved my head and floated over it. And that's what we did. So you can see that we can stand up, push the tip on, come to the anchor, relax the arm and shoot. Or we can roll it over and draw under, pulling it back. It's always pulling it back till it goes straight, That's what does it. We're pulling it back until it goes straight. And then we anchor in the same spot, but we have to move our head to find the anchor because we've drawn and relaxed first before the anchor. So the first style, anchor, relax. Second style, relax, anchor. And Steve, this is Osage Orange. I've had it for about 2 years now. It has knots in it. You can see pieces missing. You can use fast flight string on it because it's got this extra layer up here. And it's a flat bow, a home guard style bow, and shoots quite well. I enjoy shooting it. Okay, so that's a little bit about the bow, Steve. Just trying to answer a few questions and talk to the guys a bit that are interested in this stuff. But once again, now this was the pull it on, and you can see because I had something to aim at, something to focus on, Wango Tango, it's in there. So it's easier to shoot at something where you have something to look at. It's easier to hit the little red plate than it is the big target in the center. It is. Anyhow, back in a line. Okay, guys. So we've got a 3 and a 4 fletched arrow here, and we'll listen to them. I think that the 4 fletched is noisy. It clicks. Anyhow, let's just see if we can hear anything on the camera. This is the 4-fletched. Okay, now they're both fairly close. The 3 feather actually did a little bit better, but could you hear a sound? Anyway, I'm not overly impressed with the 4. I don't think it's really better than a 3. And when we took a shot, you can see that the 3 nailed it nice and center, and the 4 really is just a few inches above it, but it wasn't better. Anyhow, I think that's getting pretty close for me for the night. Have fun, guys. I'll talk to you later. Bye now. Together, spears and axes, swords weren't long enough. That's when the bow came into its own. 10, 15 yards. The bow is a devastating weapon. From this kind of a distance, it's very difficult to avoid. This can certainly lower morale. And you can imagine if you've got 30 men on a boat firing into a boat. Okay, so often when archaeologists find old ships, they'll sometimes find warriors buried in them, and these ships will have arrows stuck into the wooden sides. We use bows a lot, much more than is written about, but in every engagement, volleys of arrows were going back and forth. A good time was had by all. Anyhow, as you can see, if you had ships that were lashed together and there's no place to hide, the bow is a devastating weapon. Anyhow, enough fun for now. Keep on Viking, boys. Keep on Viking.